Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the preview for the 2024 Canadian Grand Prix, one of my favourite races of the year. It's a fun, challenging track and has thrown up some absolute classics over the years, so I am very much looking forward to this one. Maybe not a huge shock given I've been banging on for nearly 7 years about how much I love this race, but it's always nice to remind you all. But anyway, shall we get on with the preview? I think that's a good idea. So last time out F1 was in Monaco, where Charles Leclerc took his first victory on home soil, an emotional afternoon to say the least. But now it is on to Montreal for the 9th race of the 2024 season. A lap of the wonderful Circuit Gilles-Villeneuve is 4.361 kilometres long. That's just over 2.7 miles if you prefer, and is made up of 14 corners with 70 laps scheduled for Sunday's race. And Valtteri Bottas is the race lap record holder, by the way, the Finn posting a 1:13.078 back in 2019. Now, unlike Monaco, there is the possibility of some overtaking this weekend, or at least easier overtaking, and there are some good spots for drivers to try and get some moves done during the race, with Turn 1 a very popular place. Turn 6 offers up another opportunity, but it's not the easiest spot, and it's likely we'll see some moves at the hairpin too. But to help drivers in their quest to move up the order, no idea why I worded it like that, but sure, there will be 3 DRS zones in use, with the first between turn 7 and 8, and that has its own detection point, whereas the second zone down the long back straight and the final zone down the start-finish straight both share the same detection point, which is just after turn 9 on the run to the hairpin. And last year, guess who? Yes, Max Verstappen took the win in Montreal, finishing ahead of Fernando Alonso in P2 and Lewis Hamilton in P3. Nico Hülkenberg, if you remember, actually qualifying on the front row before being slapped with a 3-place grid penalty. And one final stat for you. If Max Verstappen takes the win on Sunday at Montreal, he will become driver number 3 alongside Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton to have won 3 times in a row at the Circuit Gilles-Villeneuve. Hang on a second, driver number 3 to win 3 races in a row at the circuit? I mean, they say 3 is the magic number, but do you know what else it is? It's the number of dry tyre compounds available across a race weekend. That can only mean one thing. Oh yes, it is tyre talk time once again. The compounds available for this one then are once again the softest in the Pirelli range, and so they are the hard C3, the medium C4 and the soft C5. Now, since F1's last visit to the circuit, the entire track has been resurfaced, which adds a layer of intrigue to the weekend, as does the fact all the curbs have been replaced. But Pirelli says that in theory at least, the track's existing characteristics of low abrasiveness and reduced grip should remain the same, but they won't know for sure until they've taken their measurements on Wednesday ahead of the event. Track evolution is something to keep an eye on this weekend. It is always fairly high at Canada, but it isn't particularly abrasive on the tyres, although graining could be an issue, especially on these softer compounds and earlier in the weekend. Last year's winning strategy was a 2-stopper, with Max Verstappen starting on the mediums, which he changed for the hards on lap 12, before pitting again on lap 42 for some more mediums, which he ran to the end of the race. Although, there were a really good mix of 1- and 2-stop strategies last year. Alex Albon in particular doing some great work managing his tyres as he ditched the mediums on lap 12 and ran the hards all the way to the end of the race. The final few things on strategy for today. The total pit lane lost time in 2023 was largely between 23 and 25 seconds. When it comes to safety cars, there is a good chance we'll see one given the close proximity of the walls, although maybe not as many as we saw back in 2011, that race featuring 6 of them. By the way, each of the last 2 races at the circuit have featured a full safety car period, so maybe we'll see one on Sunday. And of course, the weather can be very changeable at the circuit too, which could have a huge impact on strategy on Sunday. So keep an eye on the forecast as the weekend goes on. A sprinkling of rain or two, especially on a new surface, could really spice things up a bit. And your schedule for this one is an evening one here in the UK and Europe, and I'm sure elsewhere in the world too. So as ever, FP1 gets the weekend started on Friday at 6:30 p.m. BST, and the second practice session starts later that night at 10 p.m. Saturday's F1 action starts with FP3, and that is at 5:30 p.m. with qualifying underway at 9 p.m. And it is lights out for the race on Sunday at 7 p.m. and once again, that is in UK time. Now, before I get on to my predictions, which hopefully will go a little bit better than they did last time, let's have a run through a few of the news stories and talking points ahead of the weekend in Canada. So first up, there have been 2 big bits of silly season news this week. On Monday, it was confirmed that Alpine and Esteban Ocon have agreed to go their separate ways when the Frenchman's contract expires at the end of the season. The press release was full of talk of all his achievements with the team, as you'd expect, and didn't contain any information on why he will move on, again, perhaps as you'd expect. It has since been reported, though, that this has been coming for a while and is not a direct result of the incident with his teammate at Monaco last time out, although I'm fairly sure that didn't help matters at all. Alpine has said they will announce their 2025 driver lineup in due course, and Ocon stated he will announce his own plans very soon. It is also worth a mention that Jack Doohan will be on track for Alpine on Friday as he takes Ocon's place for FP1, although that is not said to be linked to the incident in Monaco either and was already planned. And on Tuesday, Red Bull, unsurprisingly given recent rumours, confirmed that Sergio Perez will stay with the team beyond the end of this season after he signed a 2-year extension to his current contract. That's right, 2 years. In the official press release, Christian Horner explained that now is an important time to confirm their lineup and that both Checo and Max Verstappen are a successful and robust partnership. He added that Perez has had a strong start to the season but acknowledged that his last few races have been tough. However, the team is confident in Checo and look forward to his return to proven form and performance. Last time out in Monaco, Mercedes introduced a new performance upgrade, and one part of that was a new front wing which George Russell ran across the weekend. Ahead of this weekend's Canadian Grand Prix, the Silver Arrows have said that these signs from 2 weeks ago were encouraging and offer room for optimism as F1 heads to tracks with a more traditional layout in the coming weeks. That was echoed by Toto Wolff, who said the new wing offered a small lap time gain in Monaco and, as already mentioned, should benefit the team further in the upcoming races. He also confirmed that Mercedes will be running some more new developments in Montreal this weekend, and both drivers will be running the new front wing as well. And one final story, which isn't really related to this weekend and was reported towards the end of last week, but seems to have flown a little bit under the radar, but I think it's well worth a mention. So Pirelli says they are looking at introducing a new softer compound of slick tyre in 2025 due to the growing number of street tracks now on the calendar. Mario Isola told Racer that following testing at Paul Ricard last week, they have collected a lot of good information as they finalised more or less the construction of the 2025 slick tyres. He added that they also have very promising compounds to reduce overheating for 2025 and went on to say that the idea is to also introduce a new C6 compound which will become the softest in the range next season. Isola went on to explain that this was not at the request of the teams and it was actually Pirelli's proposal which they hope will open up some different strategy options. That Racer article, by the way, if you are interested in giving it a read, is linked in the description down below. Right then, let's make some predictions, and as always, please do not take these too seriously. They're just a little bit of fun, but if you do disagree with my picks, then you can let me know yours in the comments section down below. And last time, well, quite frankly, I don't really want to talk about it, so let's just move on quickly. This time around, I'm actually going to listen to Max Verstappen. He wasn't overly optimistic ahead of Monaco, but I still thought, as we've seen many times in the past when drivers and teams play down their chances, that he would rock up to Monte Carlo, stick it on pole and go on to win the race. How wrong was I? Well, we've already established that. But the Dutchman has claimed that this weekend could prove tricky for Red Bull again, as the new surface could throw up some surprises, and despite the resurfacing work, the track will still be bumpy and riding the curves will be super important to unlocking the lap time, something the RB20 struggled with in Monaco. We've also seen a pretty big push forward in recent races from Ferrari and McLaren, and at some tracks, they are able to take the fight directly to Red Bull, and so if the world champions have issues again, they are well placed to capitalise on them. That said, and I've got to say, there is still that little part of my brain screaming, and not just in general, but screaming that Verstappen will take a comfortable win on Sunday. After all, he does have a tendency to bounce back immediately following a difficult weekend. So I am conflicted and pretty much prepared to see a comfortable Red Bull win on Sunday, but as I said a moment ago, I'm going to believe Verstappen this time around, if for no other reason than to make these predictions at least a little bit less, well, predictable. So I'm going with Charles Leclerc for pole and the win again this weekend. Come on, Ferrari, don't let me down, with Max Verstappen recovering to P2 after a slightly tricky qualifying session. And I'm going to make it 3 different teams on the podium as well, with a McLaren P3. And as I went for Oscar Piastri last time, I'll go with Lando Norris on this occasion. Insert usual line here about how it could be any one of the McLaren or Ferrari drivers or Sergio Perez up there. It's all just that close, and etc. and etc. I think it could be a lonely race for Mercedes though, unless Aston Martin can find some form, so I fully expect them to be best of the rest, so the 4th best finishing team come the checkered flag on Sunday. And when it comes to bolder predictions, I'm going to say that Yuki Tsunoda takes a 4th points finish in a row. Is that really bold anymore if he keeps finishing in the points? But, we'll still do it. Why not? I'll go with Lance Stroll picking up a top 10 finish on Sunday despite being knocked out in qualifying on Saturday. And I'll even go as far as to say that this weekend, for the first time this season, Zhou Guanyu will out-qualify Valtteri Bottas. That is it, though, for the Canadian Grand Prix preview, but you can let me know your thoughts and your predictions ahead of the weekend in the comments section down below. Now, I will be back on Saturday at 8:30 p.m. BST for the qualifying watch-along, and we will, of course, be live shortly after the action on Sunday for some race reaction. In the meantime, though, if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help the channel out, and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.